empty the chamber on them. And how do you do that? We're 6 seconds, 8 feet, everything you got. Everything you got. Turn that shit up. Let's go.
Welcome to Scoop Order Live. It is Sunday night, our Monday show. We are going to talk about the final week of winter conditioning. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for spring football to kick off next week. This is a week that the guys cannot wait to get through. The last time you have to get up and do these terrible workouts this early, and you can actually get into football next week. Guys can start winning spots. Guys can secure their spots, lock down their spots. The guys that are veterans can work on some new things in spring ball. So this is going to be, this is kind of the final little sprint to make an impression on the coaching staff as they set the depth chart going into spring football and then into summer conditioning. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, talk about what we've heard, what we've learned, what we believe is going to happen with the new look coaching staff. There are some new faces. Brian Hartline has ascended to offensive coordinator. Keenan Bailey is now the tight ends coach. James Laurinaitis is now the linebackers coach as a GA. A lot of things going on, some really interesting stuff, and we have some big-time transfer portal guys coming in. So we're going to do that. We're going to talk about the next 5-star wide receiver who is way off in the distance, but he's also from Ohio, which is a little different than the normal Florida kids that we've been getting and Texas kids that we've been getting. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, break his phone down. So this is going to be a loaded-up show, so we appreciate you guys. As always, thank you guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Give us a like, subscribe, hit that little alert bell if you enjoy this content. When we do these live shows, we appreciate you guys tuning in, interacting, fantastic questions. If you enjoy this content, BuckeyeScoop.com is where to find us all the time. We had a huge update on the commissioner search tonight from the Oracle. Really good stuff. Nobody has that kind of stuff like we do. So that high level inside information is what we really strive to bring you guys. So if you enjoy that, we appreciate you guys. As always, that being said, I'm going to bring in Nevada. Nevada, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great, man. Buckeye basketball, big win today against Illinois, kind of showing a little glimpse of how good this team could have been. So it kind of set the whole mood for the day. Day was a great day, and it's a great night. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we'll talk basketball for about 5 seconds just because I know most people are dismayed by the state of the program, the longest losing streak in 50 years. And they show up today and have a nice win against an Illinois team as underdogs. Nevada, we'll just take 1 minute to talk basketball. What would be your course of action if you're Gene Smith, the athletic director? Obviously, Chris Holtmann has about $20 million left on his contract, so you can't really move on from him at this point. Especially when you're taking loans from other parts of the university to cover the shortfall that we had after the COVID year. But what would your course of action be? What would your progress plan be, your performance plan to get Chris Holtmann and the program back on track?
Well, I think, Gene Smith has gone to Holtmann. I know this has happened, and it's basically Holtmann's got one more year. He's got one more year to kind of turn it around. The incoming class he's got is a good one. And in basketball, you can turn things around very, very quickly. But another year like this one, and we'll be having a coaching search at this time next year. But no, Holtmann's got one more year to turn it around. Probably appropriate given the circumstances. Like I said, got a nice incoming class going, and Gene Smith has given him the word. So we'll see how he does.
Yeah, it's weird because when I was back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth and I was there in 2006, like we had Odin Conley. I remember in 2007, we had Kosta Koufos, who went first round, and Jamar Butler, who was a fourth-year guy, wasn't an NBA guy, an overseas kind of guy. But that team didn't make the tournament at all and won the NIT. This team might not even make the NIT, which is kind of just crazy when you think about the amount of money that's spent on basketball, the amount of resources spent on basketball. So really a lost year. It's really kind of shocking given the amount of that we put into the basketball program, how low the output has been this year. We're going to get into winter conditioning. This is a huge week for these guys. Most of these guys are probably either in bed or getting ready to head to bed. They're going to have that bright and early wake-up call, that 4:45 a.m. Buzzer goes off in your room. You head over to the Woody Hayes. You get gutted by Mickey Marotti for an hour straight. A lot of agility drills, which is just basically conditioning work, a lot of morning sprints, a lot of the kind of the grind that makes the team is going on right now. Uh, Nevada, we've talked a lot about the conditioning of the team. What do you think this team gets out of a good, tough winter conditioning that Mickey Marotti puts out, under the direction of Ryan Day?
Well, I think again the thing that we're looking for obviously is those guys that are kind of separating themselves during this time because, as you said, it's a grind. It's a tough time. It's really the guys you're going to find out who really likes to play football, who's really committed, who really wants to make a move in that 2023 season. And one of the interesting names that I've been hearing, about guys that are kind of coming along and really doing stuff is an oldie but a goodie, and Chip Tranum. And Chip is a guy who's kind of a man without a position. Is he a linebacker? Is he a running back? Well, whatever he is, he's in tremendous shape, doing a lot of good things, and really trying to make some noise in a really loaded running back room. Wouldn't be surprised to see him kind of grab the reins a little bit there and try to make a move. And he's an elite athlete who's been doing some stuff, and he's dropped some weight, really got himself into really, really good shape, and having a really great winter. And I expect him to have a good spring into a good summer and into a good fall.
Yeah, the guy that I've heard a lot about, and I hesitate to say this based on bowl practice, but Jaden Ballard has every opportunity in the world to have a spring. Fastest guy on the team again for I think the third straight year in testing and in these drills. In these drills, the interesting thing is when they do some of these finishers where you do distance sprints and you do a lot of L drills and pro agilities, like you really get to see who the fastest guys on the team are because there's no hiding. When you do speed groups and everybody's watching and you get down to the final speed group, it's like the 10 fastest guys on the team all racing each other at the end of the drills. And he wins. I mean, he wins consistently, if not every time, especially in long speed, torches guys. And I just think for him, it's now or never this spring because it reminds me a lot of JMO. Like JMO's a guy that, a couple springs ago, I think people, they thought he was a good player. I don't think that they had any idea that he was going to turn into like a Biletnikoff finalist like he did at Alabama. But Jaden's kind of that guy. And with Marvin will surely be limited in spring. I'm sure he'll take turns with the ones, but you got to limit Marvin because he's already been productive and he's already done a lot. And Emeka and Julian are completely out of spring. Jaden is going to be running with the ones more than any other receiver in the mix at this point. So, if there's ever a time to get some cohesion with Kyle McCord or Devin Brown when Devin's running with the ones, it's now, and I think that that's going to be something that's really going to be worth watching because, we had people in practice telling us how great he was, some of the gadget plays they're putting in for him, because like with a kid like with Jaden, when you have that kind of speed, you just have to put some gadget plays in for him to touch the ball and just try to get the edge with his speed. I mean, we did that in 06 with Ray Small when he was a freshman. He wasn't really ready to play, but he had a lot of speed. I mean, the one play we got him killed where Troy threw the ball out to him and he got clocked and got a concussion. But, when a guy has legitimate high-level collegiate, track speed, you got to have him touch the ball some. So it'll be interesting to see that. Josh Fryer is another guy that's in fantastic shape. I'm really excited to see what he does, as the standalone starting right tackle, the day one right tackle. So it'll be fascinating to see, does he get some reps at left tackle? That's kind of the rumor that's going around right now. I think I'd leave him at right, leave Zen at left. But a couple years ago, going into the season, everybody thought Isaiah Prince was going to be the starting left tackle. Thayer Munford was going to be the right tackle. And after, a couple of snaps, they end up switching them. And they put Thayer as a true sophomore as the starting left tackle. And they put Isaiah out at right tackle. So it's going to be interesting. This is the time to mix and match and figure out what works best. And then the quicker you can settle on the five that you think are going to be the guys to start the first game, the quicker, the better off you are if you're Justin Fry and the offensive staff. Nevada, defensively, James Laurinaitis, there's been a lot of talk about him. There's been a lot of talk about, improvement, potentially from the linebackers. I mean, the linebackers made a quantum leap last year. Then all of a sudden you add year two of Jim Knowles. Yeah, James Laurinaitis tutoring Tommy Eichenberg, which I can't wait because those guys they're very similar players. I played with James, obviously, for 3 years. James is a fantastic player, extremely intelligent, extremely hardworking. He's got a lot of the same traits as Tommy. What are you excited about the most with in terms of James Laurinaitis' addition to the defensive staff?
Well, I just think, I've never understood how you can have kind of a mismatched staff with 10 people. It would seem that it's it's pretty easy to go, okay, let's have 5 offensive guys and 5 defensive guys. And it never made sense to me that it was kind of unbalanced in that. And I like the fact that James just brings some youth. I think he brings some youth and some excitement to the defensive side, to a defensive side of the ball that's gotten a little bit older, a little bit stodgier. And I just think that youth, that enthusiasm, that reputation, I really think he can have a Brian Hartline type of impact on defensive recruiting. And I know he believes he can do that as well. He's said that as much to Ryan Day. And I think that's kind of part of the pitch. I think that's why he'll be a permanent 10 guy sooner than later. And I just can't wait to see the excitement that he brings to the room because, look, it's a loaded room. We've got a lot of guys in there, and there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be kind of scratching their head looking at what their roles are going to be. And having a guy like James there to kind of explain, their path to the field, it can only be beneficial to Ohio State. So I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I think like when you have a guy like James who has the eyes of the middle linebacker, he's been in the situations. He's played a lot of nickel defense from his years, especially later on in the NFL when they really went away from 3 linebackers. I think that's going to be invaluable to the team. I think structurally, I think it'll be huge just to get those fits firmed up a little bit between the front and back end, especially in the running game. Kind of clean up some of those explosive plays that we gave up towards the end of the year. I think James is going to be as good of a coach as we've had. I mean, I really think that he's an A+ type prospect. I thought it was criminal that he had to go away for a year to Notre Dame to prove that he wanted to coach. I thought that was silly and stupid, especially in the era of you look around the NFL. There's a lot of guys that get jobs. Davis Webb just got named the Denver Broncos quarterbacks coach, and he's like 28 years old. Backup quarterback, made 1 career start, and now he's Russell Wilson's coach. So he didn't go be a GA somewhere. He didn't go be an intern somewhere. He's literally the quarterbacks coach for Sean Payton. Now, granted, Sean Payton is obviously going to be the head quarterbacks coach, but when you have guys that are talented and you believe in them and you know enough about them, just make him a coach. Like James, honestly, I feel like with James going to Notre Dame for a year and then coming here, I feel like we missed on Tackett Curtis and Troy Bowles and some guys that I think James could have taken some big swings at just because he's an elite recruiter. He's an elite person. He's a guy that's very dynamic. He's razor sharp. No one's going to outwork him on the recruiting trail. And I think kids genuinely are going to enjoy recruiting him and getting to know him because he's a guy that he's been on Madden. He's had the career that they all want. He was an All-American at college. He was a really, really high 2nd round pick, probably should have been a late 1st round pick. And he had a great career, 8-9 years, made $50 million or so. So all those kids want that. He can help them get that. And I think that's going to be exciting. Nevada, in terms of the back end of the defense, obviously, we run our 5 DB system with the 3 safeties. Perry Eliano is coaching those 3 safeties. I think the more I hear about Perry, the more he's going to be the guy that's really going to ascend, I think, eventually and be a head coach within 2-3 years, if they get this thing straightened out and he keeps rising. What do you want to see out of this back end, between the corners? Obviously we got the huge addition in Davis and Igbinosun from Ole Miss. That was a massive add to our cornerback room. What do you want to see out of this back end to start spring over the first week or so?
Well, this is kind of one of those, catch-22 types of situations because anytime that the defense does something good, it means the offense is doing something bad. So I hate to risk this upon anybody, but I'm looking for more turnovers. I'm looking for the safeties and the cornerbacks to create. Last year our cornerbacks created exactly 0 turnovers, which has never happened before in the history of Ohio State. So I'd like to see that. At the same time, I don't want to see Devin Brown and Kyle McCord, flipping it up there, but no, look, we've got to get the ball over. We've got to create those big plays, those negative plays. And, it comes with a lot of technique and a lot of, I think Ohio State's kind of examined in the offseason. Are they playing the receiver or are they playing the quarterback? Or are they trying to guess the route? And a lot of us, they've been tweaking some of their approaches that to try to have a more cohesive approach from a defensive standpoint that would lend itself to more turnovers. So we'll see if that happens in the spring. Again, if that happens, then we'll be having episodes called "Why Are Our Quarterbacks Throwing So Many Interceptions?" But that would probably be a good thing for our defensive backs.
Yeah, I hope the defense is dominant this spring, just because I feel like the offense is going to be a version of easy mode, because you're not going to have Trey Henderson, you're not going to have Mayan, you're not going to have Emeka. Cade's probably going to be limited. Marvin's going to be limited. Julian's out. 2 new quarterbacks, new O-line. Hopefully it sets the table for the defense to dominate, get some confidence ramped up going into fall camp. I think that, the thing that's going to be interesting is the battle on the edges with Zen and Josh Fryer versus Jack Sawyer and JT2 and Maloau. I think that, for Jack and JT, it should be the killing fields. They should get a lot of wins, a lot of big reps, because, they had to cut their teeth last year against Paris and DeWand predominantly, rotating in with Zach Harrison. So, you got 2 NFL guys, 2 guys who are going to be starting in the league next year. Paris probably top 10 pick. DeWand probably first 3-round pick. Versus, Zed and Josh, who really haven't proven anything. And I think those guys are going to do well. And I think that the best thing for them is that they get to see JT and Jack every single day. So when you're in that situation as a tackle, because I've lived it, you just know every day is like a game. You treat every day like a game. You have the same anxiety and nerves that you do going into a game, because, if you don't bring it, the offense can't function. Like when I had to go against Vernon and Mike Kudla, Vernon Golson, Mike Kudla, Will Smith, like those guys, if you don't bring it, the offense can't function. So if you have a day where you get beat and then it turns into a death spiral, or you let the first time you get beat rally into the second time getting beat, that's where it can get ugly. So, if you're Josh and Zen, man, you better eat your Wheaties, eat your salad, get 8 hours of sleep, hydrate, do all you can to get ready to roll, because it's going to be a fight every day against this front. And same with our interior guys. They got to go against Mike and Tyleek, who are absolute loads in the middle. And hopefully the clogging of having the guys in front of them is now gone, and these guys can be fully unleashed. And there's no more timeshare. There's no more limited reps. There's no more, oh, I forgot because he's not on this package, so he didn't play, and he played 10 plays or 15 plays. Because it's time for these guys to go. They're not babies anymore. They're all third-year juniors, and it's time to see what we got on the interior. And I think that's going to be a great challenge for Carson Hinsman and for Matt and Donnie, obviously, on the interior of that line. So it'll be fascinating to see how much they rotate these guys through. It'll be fascinating to see, do you do something and put Matt at center and put Enoch in? Because I think that, if I was day one, I've said it 1,000 times, I'd be putting Enoch in at right guard. I'd put Matt at center and just let it rip, because I think that that's the fair thing to do. Enoch's been a good soldier for 5 years. I think he deserves the first crack at right guard, but I don't think Justin Fry agrees with me on that. But, Enoch made a start last year, and again, when they needed him against Michigan, he was the guy that went in, and then they rotated Josh Fryer in a little bit at right guard. Neither played particularly well. So now these guys, they got to step up and go. Nevada, we're going to get into a 5-star wide receiver. Appreciate all you guys joining us. I see you guys normally. AZ King, Daniel, Steven, Matt, all the guys in here. Appreciate you. Allie from New York. Appreciate it. This first timer right there. We are going to watch a little bit of film of a 5-star wide receiver from Ohio, which is something that we very rarely get, because generally, our 5-star wide receivers are guys from Florida, Texas, not generally Ohio, but Chris Henry Jr. is a guy down in Cincinnati, transferred. Obviously, everybody remembers his dad, Slim. Chris Henry Sr. died tragically, played with Chad Johnson. TJ Hushmanzada was kind of in that area, went to West Virginia. His college teammate and best friend, Adam Jones, now takes care of Chris Henry Jr. So we're going to watch a little bit of this film, but this kid is a twitched up dude now. So this is, his freshman year film. So he's going to be a sophomore this year. So he's a freak show for as young as he is. But Nevada, your thoughts on Chris Henry Jr. because I think that the combination of a 5-star wide receiver plus being in the state of Ohio, obviously, with Brian Hartline, it seems like he's pretty close to being a Buckeye lock. But your thoughts as we watch a couple of clips of this kid being as young as he is. This is freshman year film, which is crazy.
Well, first question I'll ask is, who was the last 5-star wide receiver from Ohio?
Ooh, man. Teddy, maybe?
I mean, that's who comes to my mind. That's the only one that I can think of.
Teddy was a corner by most of the services, but he never played corner for us. But Teddy, I mean, he might be the guy. I mean, I can't think of another 5-star receiver just because, we haven't had any. Because 5 stars are rare inherently, but one from Ohio at receiver, Teddy. So
I mean, that's my guess. Maybe the board can crank up an answer, a better answer for it. But no, very excited about this young man. Like you said, his dad died tragically. Pac-Man kind of stepped in as the father figure for him. He's a terrific kid. Loves Ohio State. Loves Brian Hartline. Loves Ryan Day. Buckeyes very, very well positioned on this one. And like you said, he's a big day. He does things that freshmen shouldn't do out there on the field. I mean, he looks way above it. We said that about Marvin Harrison when he came to Ohio State. We're like, freshmen shouldn't look like this. Well, freshmen shouldn't play like this. Shouldn't look like this in high school either. And he's definitely a man playing against boys down there, and it shows in this tape. You can just see he just jumps right off the film at you.
So Ted is coming in saying DeVier Posey was on Rivals, a 5-star, which he might have been. I mean, do you remember that, Nevada? He very well could have been.
Yeah, I mean, I thought DeVier was a 4-star, but I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, he could very well have been a 5-star. Who knows? Rivals has us getting the number 1 offensive tackle and offensive guard this year, so I'm all about Rivals.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I never know how to weight the services. I think a lot of people like 247 the best and On3 the worst, but Rivals, yeah, I mean, they've got Ian Moore as the number 1 tackle in the country, and he's only a 4-star, so he's not even. I mean, there isn't a 5-star tackle in the entire country according to Rivals. But yeah, it looks like it might have been DeVier Posey. I'll take your word for that because I'm not going to look up in the middle of the show. But yeah, I think that this kid is man. He's got a lot. He's got a lot of upside, man. He's so lean and he's tall. I mean, he's about 6'4". I mean, he is a big joker. And for being that young, it's just like, I mean, he's a 2026 for God's sake, it's just crazy, because I just remember, we're in the class of 2024 right now. The guys are about to be seniors. And, this kid, I mean, he still has, God, he's going to be a sophomore this year. But I mean, when you watch his tape, does not look like a sophomore. He's at Cincinnati Withrow now. He is going to be a dude. But yeah, I think that it'll be interesting to see if he camps this year. It was interesting because as a freshman last year at camp, he got offered on the spot along with Tyler Atkinson. So he'll likely be a 5-star. Him and Tyler, who's down in Georgia, I talked to his dad a lot. Those are probably two of the top 5 freshmen going to be sophomores in the country. But yeah, I love the film. I love the physicality, but yeah, it's just the height. I mean, he's 6'5", and he's only about $180 right now. So, you can imagine he'll get up to 210, 215 with training. Because that's the thing now with these kids, they have great personal trainers, great nutritionists. So, that's the thing. These receivers show up, man, and they look like men already because they put in the work, and things are just so much more advanced than they used to be. It's like when I saw J.J. Smith down in Naples a few weeks ago, like he does not. I mean, he just looks like a different type of beast, man. Because there just aren't guys that are that young, that muscular, that developed. Just exceptionally skilled route running, physical. For 7-on-7 football, is about as physical as you can get. But yeah, like these guys. This kid kind of reminds me of him, but he just looks like he's got the deep speed that most kids don't possess. Because again, he is 6'5". His dad was an absolute burner, 4'4" guy, big, super lean guy when he played for Cincinnati. I was actually with him in 2008 for a year with Chad and TJ. So that was kind of a wild crew. But yeah, again, like the genetics just kind of take over. It's a lot like you said, Marvin Harrison Senior. Then you see what Marvin Harrison Jr. turns into, a kid that looks like he could be as good or better than his Hall of Fame dad. But yeah, I love watching this film with some of these guys because you can't believe how young this kid is, and then what's he gonna look like this year? After another year of development in the weight room, another year of just advanced route running, training, that kind of thing. So. But yeah, I'd love your thoughts in the chat on Chris Henry Jr. Again, I imagine he'll be a Buckeye just because he's right down the road. He looks like a standard X, like that's that big dog wide receiver that you put out to the left of the offense pretty much every snap. That's what we put Marvin at right now, and I love watching his tape. Nevada, who does he remind you of? Someone from either the NFL or from Ohio State, or maybe one of both?
Well, the first time I saw him, he reminded me of the first time I saw David Boston when David Boston was in high school, and he was just this a big load of a kid who looked like he was big and tall and kind of lanky. He figured once he kind of filled out, he was sitting out. David took it to an extreme, but I just love that. I just love the way that he plays both sides of the ball. He plays on special teams. He just gets after it. He's just got the attitude, the genetics of that guy that that's grown up just part of it, part of an NFL family, those NFL genetics. And no, he, like I said, honestly, the first time I thought of him, I thought David Boston, and I don't know why I thought that, but it put it together with me, because I remember seeing David Boston when he was relatively young in high school, and before he became Superman, and this kid looks a lot like him, man. It's pretty uncanny.
Yeah, it's interesting when you watch him in the Rose Bowl as a freshman versus what he became when he was with the Cardinals and Chargers. I mean, obviously he got busted for juicing, but he was a lot. He was a little
allegedly.
Yeah, I look at those photos. I don't think there's anything alleged about it, but he was one of the funniest stories I've ever heard in my entire life was when I had a teammate that was with him out in Arizona, and he would get checks in your locker room, for whatever, for your game check or your an appearance or an endorsement or whatever. And he got a check for it was some amount less than $5,000, like $4,000 or whatever. And he literally, he showed it to one of my teammates that I was in the league with, and he literally just ripped it up and threw it in the trash. And the guy's like, "Why are you throwing that in the trash?" And he's like, "Anything less than $5,000 I would even deposit. I just throw it away. It's not worth my time." And I was just like, that is when you're a little bit off kilter, but God bless him. But that was one of the funniest stories ever. Is anything less than $5,000, he didn't even waste the time to deposit, that was interesting. Because I just, when you're in the NFL and every day could be your last and your career can be shorter and shorter, it was an interesting deal. We're gonna go a little shorter tonight, but Nevada, you got any final thoughts? Watch some Chris Henry, got the conditioning going. We'll pick up a nice big show tomorrow, but your thoughts on the week, and man, we're almost to spring ball. We're about 10 days out, and then it's gonna be just all downhill from there.
Yeah, no, got a nugget coming up tomorrow about kind of what the Buckeyes have learned. They did a little bit of self-scouting, a lot bit of self-scouting. Had a kind of report, kind of some conclusions about some things they need to change on offense, some things they need to change on defense, some personnel things that need to do, and going to be dropping that tomorrow. So look for that at BuckeyeScoop.com.
Yeah, analytics are crazy now, and the way they can study some of this stuff, it's next level. So guys, look for that. That's going to be a fantastic nugget. I can't wait to read it. Talked a little bit about it. Got some sourcing out tonight, and it's going to be some good stuff. So with that being said, guys, wrap this show up. We appreciate you guys. In terms of top targets 2024, you know what? We're going to do a lot of this tomorrow. So if you guys tune in tomorrow, we're going to go to about 7 just because it is kind of late. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you, Patrick. Obviously the quarterbacks are going to be the huge target for 2024. Who do we end up with? Do we end up with Julian Sain, which is kind of the odds-on guy? Is it Jaden Davis? That's going to be a big one for sure. I think that the O-line recruiting has actually been decent. I think that the hardest part about the O-line recruiting, I'm just getting this last question done, is that you have you've had a lot of attrition, and some of it has been fantastic attrition. The fact that guys have declared early for the draft and they're high draft picks like Nick Petit Frere, Paris Johnson, DeJuan Jones, Luke Whippler, they're all probably going to be gone in the first 3 rounds. You unfortunately had the Harry Miller situation, who's a 5-star center that we lost, because of his what he had to deal with. And then you had some guys that transferred out, Max Ray, Ryan Jacoby. So I don't think that the recruiting has necessarily sucked. I think it's actually been really good, given how many guys have declared and been drafted high, and how many awards we've won, and how many first-team All-Americans and all Big Tens we've won. So I think the O-line recruiting has actually been really good. But that's this is my opinion. But again, that's the tough part, is when you have guys declare early. It's kind of like Kentucky basketball. When you take a bunch of guys that leave after 1 year or 2 years, it's a lot harder to kind of keep that cycle going, and you have to replenish it as fast as the guys get here. Obviously, football's a lot different. You got to stay for 3 years, but I think the O-line's going to be fine. I really do. I think that Justin Fry's got a lot of hungry guys in that room. A lot of guys want to play, a lot of talent, and some of these guys have been dying to play. And guess what? It is open season to get some jobs on the Ohio State offensive line for 2023. So with that being said, as always, we thank you guys so much for tuning in. Shout out where you're from in the comments. As always, that's one of my favorite things. I love hearing Canton, Ohio, Naples, Florida, San Antonio. We have people in Japan. We have people in England. So people are putting in the comments. Love reading that. Let me know. Comment down below. Who does Chris Henry Jr. remind you of? I love watching his film. Big, fast guy. I mean, I can't imagine how big he's going to be once he gets to college. He's already 6'5". Does he hit 6'6"? Does he hit 230? Freaky size. So I love that. And he has speed to burn, which is awesome. So as always, we appreciate you guys. If you guys enjoy this show, click like, click subscribe, and click that alert bell, because that alert bell will let you know when we go live. Probably go live around 7 tomorrow. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. We love doing this with you guys. You guys bring great questions. We love interacting with you guys. If you guys enjoy this, you guys enjoy the interaction, you guys enjoy our community, BuckeyeScoop.com is the place for you. We are the #1 community for the biggest Ohio State supporters. You would not believe some of the people that subscribe to this site. There are some mega hitters in the Ohio State community. So come on down. We'd love to have you in our little club, because we have a blast on there, and it is always crazy. It is always live, and we always have great information pouring in on Ohio State football. So we appreciate you guys so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. I'm going to go jump on the message board on BuckeyeScoop.com. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Go Bucks.